Hi, welcome to Simply Homespun Podcast. I'm Kim, and I want to welcome you. If you're a new viewer, thank you for taking a chance and spending time watching me. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for returning, and I hope you are enjoying this as much as I am making these. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram and Facebook as Simply Homespun. And on Twitter, I am Simply Homespun 1. And on Pinterest, I'm Simply Handspun. And my Etsy shop is Simply Homespun. Nope, sorry. Simply Handspun Yarn. It would be good to know the name of your own shop, wouldn't it? So, anyway, I want to start off with some works in progress, and I'm really excited about, actually, yes, this is actually take 2 of this podcast because I do it on my phone. I have no way to really edit very well, so if I goof up, I've got to start all over. Well, I got through the whole thing, but it had cut off because I didn't have enough memory, so now that's fixed, I hope. But so my stuff is still piled up in reverse order. So actually, let me do this. Let me do acquisitions first, and I can get this out of the way. Acquisitions this week. One thing, again, from Deborah Taylor of Napa Valley Fibers. And she posts on Facebook group. It's fiber sales. I'll put the exact name in the show notes, but anyway, she posts these spinning kits and they are really awesome, and I've gotten 3 from her so far, and I love them. And she actually had one that came out yesterday that it was all I could do not to get it, but I really don't have extra money right now for that. So anyway, this one is called Victorian Combo Spinning Kit, and she sent me this is Columbia Rambouillet cross top braid, and then she sent me some. It's 3/4 Romney, 1/4 Rambouillet fleece, some Romney lamb curls, which are here. And they're dyed purple and pink. And then she sent purple and green multicolor wool. And she sent, I'll just tell you what was in this pack and then show you. Corridel top, dyed pink and purple, mystery gray, brown wool roving. There's that. But it's soft. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. It's a little more woolly than Romney. But then there's Corridel top, dyed pink and purple, which is here. Isn't that beautiful? I think that there's 2 of those. And there's a Ashland Gray Bamboo Spring Green, and there's Ashland Bay Starbright, Ashland Bay Firestar in the Tropic colorway, Angelina Ultraviolet, and then Glass Beads. And here's Morlocks, and then here's some wool. I think this is the Romney and Rambouillet here. And then there's the green and the white Firestar, and then there's the beads and more of that. And I think I showed you that. See, I just did it, so I don't know if I showed it to you just now or before. Anyway, but she always sends tea with it too, which I'm a huge tea drinker. I used to sell tea. I love it. So anyway, she sent me, and this one, Ambiance, I've never had that brand, so it's an English breakfast tea. And then this one is Perfect Peach from Bigelow. You know, Bigelow got one of the highest scores on not having chemicals and BPA in their bags. So anyway, that was good. All right, so that was my acquisition, and I'm thinking I wanted Ben to actually create, especially with that one I showed you last week, the stormy weather, to recreate a stormy weather on the Carter. And he has been, he does great bats, as I showed you last week, but he had been watching Ashley on from How to Spin Yarn. He had been watching her card these landscape bats, and they are beautiful. She takes different landscapes like the desert, and she had a tropical forest, I think. And anyway, she had a lot of different landscapes, and so they're just like works of art. You could unroll these bats and hang them in a shadow box. They're that gorgeous. And so, but she has a bigger Carter than I have, and I have the Ashford Wild Carter, which is made for handling a lot of bulky things, but this Carter is bigger. So Ben now thinks he can't do justice to this set unless he had a bigger Carter. So anyway, what is that, a carding snob? I don't know. But anyway, I have a blending board from Ashford, and I think I may try doing a scene on the blending board and see how that turns out. He's going to be gone. He leaves at 3:45 in the morning for camp, and so he'll be gone a week. So next week I may explore with this Victorian one and see how I do on the blending board, and then maybe he'll be more inspired. But she on Etsy is Napa Valley Fiber, but she has some great things. And these kits though I've just noticed them on Facebook. So, but I will post the Facebook group, and you can check that out. So that was my only acquisition. So now I've kind of cleaned off a little bit. And let me show you some works in progress. My dad's sweater, I am in, there's the front. This is actually, you start knitting the back. So I'm a little bit, I'm like 2 rows further into the pattern than I was last week, but you know, it's progress, right? Nothing ripped out. I didn't digress, so it is progress. So anyway, I have that going, and I do love it. There's a app that's called Stash to Go with the number 2, Stash to Go, and I am able to, it's in conjunction with Ravelry, and I'm able to list my project and then get the row counter, and I can label the name. So I did like back, which that's what this is, and I'm able to count the rows. But then, like I explained last week, there's like 5 patterns, different patterns every row. So I'm able to, on that, do like the moss pattern, list out the different patterns, and do the separate row counts. So that's awesome. That's very nice, because like the moss is 4 rows repeated over and over, and the center panel pattern is 22 rows repeated over and over. So anyway, I'm able to track each one separate, so I'll know which row of that pattern I'm on. It sounds complicated. It is complicated. I can't work this pattern and socialize or really even watch TV or anything. I just got to focus on that. So, but it's going, and that's progress. So I'm excited about that. The other exciting thing is those socks. I finished the second cuff. It's amazing. It's amazing, but I did it. Not only did I finish the second cuff, I was actually also able to, I've loaded them both on this magic loop, and I've knit a row on here. So I'm excited. I did it. You know, this is Mina's 2 at a time sock pattern, and I think it was a paid for pattern, but I'm not positive. But you can look. It's on her, Mina Phillip is who she is on Ravelry, and that's where I got the pattern. But it's Mina's 2 at a time socks, and it's using the magic loop method. So, which, after I got that second cuff on, I just got a renewed interest. But this, if I did it again, I mean, this works, but I have clay stuck on the end because I do not want to take any chances on anything falling off. But I would get a bigger or longer needle, circular needle for it, because things are crowded. I actually had to put, and the only thing after that, after my dad's sweater, it took all my markers. So I'm using little earring hooks to mark the middle of my socks, because it's so short, when I am knitting this, the back one tends to go together, and so then every time I'm counting 32 and splitting it. And this way I can just tell where the 32 rows are. So there's 64 total rows, total stitches cast on. And you put 32 on one side, 32 on the other side. Okay, so anyway, look, this one's coming off. Come on, I just have this piece of clay on here. But anyway, so those are the socks. I can do it on this needle with no problem now. So, yay! So I hope to make more progress. The other thing I made progress on, and very little, but it is progress, is I got my quilt block back out. And I embroidered around this wing here. So, woohoo! But you know what? It's progress. Every little bit counts. If I work on everything a little bit every day, it'll be good. And I enjoy all these things. You know, the sock was getting me a little down, but after I got that second cuff finished, all things are possible, right? All things are possible through Jesus. So I prayed and I got it. So yay. And then my pinwheel blanket. Okay. I got another pinwheel done. Out of this, I had done a baby sweater for my girlfriend. And so there's that. Then, but the thing is, it looks humongous beside of these. These were both wool. This was my yarn, simply homespun yarn, and this was a wool yarn. But when I put it together, it's really not that much longer. So I think I can fix that with the blocking. I started the fourth pinwheel here. This is also my yarn, just in a natural colorway. So I'm hoping that will draw this in a little bit. But I do think that when I've completed the block, I'll be able to block it and even it all out. Actually, I'll probably do another whole block and then block both of them, so they'll be the same size. But anyway, so there's progress on that quite a bit, actually. Okay. What else? I don't have any finished objects. I'm sorry. I don't have any finished objects. I am working on more mini skeins, so those will be in my shop before too long. I'm still winding them off, and I've got to dye them still. But, so I'll have mini skeins to show you next week. One thing I wanted to talk about the KALS. So the sweater KAL is one I'm participating in. That's Knitting Expat's summer, Knitting Expat's sweater along, 2016 sweater along. And Mina, Phillip, is going to draw for prizes at the end of September and the end of December. So you still have plenty of time to work on that sweater and finish it, Kim. So I'm hoping I enter mine. But anyway, so that's the sweater along, and you can check her out, the Knitting Expat on Ravelry, and she has threads going for that KAL. You just post your picture on the thread or on Instagram using hashtag 2016 sweater along. So, but if you, again, I said last week, but if you have a private private Instagram account, apparently we can't see the pictures. So, if you do have a private Instagram, then just also post it on the thread in Ravelry. The other knit along is the Summer Blanket Blitz KAL, and that's also Knitting Expat and Soxcetera. They're Shannon, I'm pretty sure that's right. Shannon and Mina are doing a joint KAL, and that's what my Pinwheel blanket is, one of Mina's patterns, and it is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. But it's really a good pattern, and it's easy to follow. And I think I posted in episode 1 or 2, this is episode 6, by the way. That's exciting. But I think in episode 1 or 2, I posted a YouTube that explained the German short rows really well. And then Mina's got a YouTube that explains it all, too. So it's a really good pattern. And that's the Pinwheel Scrap Blanket. Yes, Pinwheel Scrap Blanket. So, but that hashtag is Summer Blanket Blitz KAL. And again, it runs through the end of September. Well, I may be wrong on that. I'll post that. But if you look on her Ravelry page, Knitting Expat, you'll see the thread, and it explains it. And then I have a KAL going on, the Simply Homespun Art Sock KAL, and that is going on through the end of September, and that's why I'm questioning myself on that blanket KAL. I have hopes of finishing that blanket, so I'm thinking it's at least September, and maybe even later. But anyway, but I'll post it. And the art sock KAL is just using a sock pattern of your choice, but just making it a work of art. But the socks have to be wearable. So one of the photos needs to be with it on your foot, so I know it is wearable. So you can use art yarn, you can use beads, you could use ribbons, you could use feathers, you could use anything. You know, on the leg, you could decorate it quite a bit. So anyway, that is what we're looking for there. You can post it on your pictures, your finished objects on Instagram using hashtag Simply Homespun Art Sock KAL. Or you can post it. I have a Ravelry thread going for that KAL as Simply Homespun on Ravelry. So you can look at those. All right. So that's it for the KALs. I want to do a shop update for my Simply Handspun yarn shop on Etsy. I did add the mini skeins, but you already saw those last week. I added the mini skeins, and I added Grace's pot holders, which have gotten a lot of interest. So that's good. But I've got a lot of yarns that are really pretty. And sometimes I think when you have so many yarns, they just kind of get lost. So I wanted to show a couple, maybe in each episode of some I've done. But this one, I like this one. This is a bulky yarn, but it's spun, applied with these different rose colored beads. There's pink, and I think there's a yellow. Anyway, they're all through here. But this is there's an orange one, 244 yards. It's New Zealand Romney, 100%, so it's soft. And it is hand dyed by me. So there's that. That would make, I think, a beautiful cowl. I mean, I just think it would be so pretty if you can wear the summer colors, but I don't know if I can. But anyway, so that is just, I wish you could feel it. It's so soft. The beads aren't, of course. But that would be a good cowl, I think. You just, when you knit with the beads, when you're coming to a bead, you knit and then just kind of push it through to the right side. So the other one I got inspired from Ashley of the How to Spin Yarn she actually has a shop, How to Spin Yarn, on Etsy, and she's got a YouTube channel, How to Spin Yarn. But she's a really nice person. I've communicated with her some and gotten some advice from her on a few things. But this, I got the idea from her. But this is spun fabric. And I just got this, it was a fat quarter pack. And I just ripped it. I didn't salvage the ends or anything, so you can kind of see. Where do I? Here we go. You can kind of see it's kind of rough on the edges and kind of frizzy. But, this would be such a neat shawl. I mean, incorporate it with, pick up one of the many colors in this. Even like black with this is maybe, striped through the middle or on the bottom. That would be so pretty. This one is 112 yards of that. But I think that's so pretty. It's not, it's not real soft, but because it's spun fabric, but it is cool. And I just tied the pieces together, so there's a lot of these little bows. I think it's neat. I've been so tempted to spin this. I've got another fabric yarn in my shop too that's green, and I want to say it's green and pink, but anyway. So those are two yarns that are already in my shop and are just wanting new homes. Please take me home and knit me so I can go on forever. Yes. Okay. Another segment I want to start doing is podcasts. And I love podcasts now. The first podcast I ever watched was Mando Bug with Amanda. And, she was so entertaining. She's so bubbly. She's always laughing. And I love that. She's just so up. And she's very talented. She cross stitches, she quilts, she makes project bags, she spins, she knits, she crochets. She does it all. And now she's a mother of two. And they just recently moved, but she did do a podcast update, and I think I mentioned that in episode 1 or 2. But so her podcast is excellent. I love it. And I guarantee you it will inspire you to create, because she is just so awesome. And all her back episodes are on. I think she's up to 62 or 63 episodes. And but you can watch all the way from episode 1. Her YouTube channel is Mando Bug. It may be Mando Bug Crafts, but if you plug in Mando Bug, it'll come up. She is excellent. The Knitting Expat, who I also talk about a lot, Mina Phillip, she is great. She is, she's got a good personality too. She's real bubbly, and she's also an excellent knitter. She does patterns. She sells her patterns on Ravelry, and that's two of mine. I'm working on her socks, and the Pinwheel scrap blanket are her designs. And you'll enjoy her podcast. It's very good. And then another one that I really like is Adelaide's Cottage. And she is, she's a little bit different personality from Mando Bug, but she's a calmer. I mean, she just makes me feel peaceful, and I enjoy watching her. Her voice is just really soft, and and she quilts and she knits, and she's just I really enjoy her podcast. And she's also got an Etsy shop, Adelaide's Cottage, and she sells her project bags. Excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of tea. We were speaking of tea a long time ago. Darjeeling, and I love Darjeeling with cream and sugar, of course. But she's really good. So check those out. Mando Bug, Adelaide's Cottage, and Knitting Expat. I'll put those in the show notes to their podcasts. And so I'd like to, help other podcasters, and just because, and just to give you guys some good podcasts to watch. And I won't ever recommend anything if there's off-color language or remarks or whatever. I don't like that. So anything I recommend will be, something that everyone should appreciate. So, and I don't find many out there that, knitters just aren't. It just seems like people in the fiber world are, they don't use the horrible language, or they're not, it's just, I don't know. But there's very few that I just switch off. There's been a couple of times I have, but all in all, it's good. And so I'm going to just recommend every week a few favorites, and just see what you think. I like to watch, and I like to learn something from it, get an inspiration from it. There's a couple I watched that it was just no energy whatsoever. The work was really good, but no energy. So anyway, there's so many out there, and I was getting all these subscriptions, and so I'm thinking, I hated deleting or unsubscribing, but there's so many to watch, and I just wanted to pick, I don't have time to watch everything, so I just have to pick what most will help me. So anyway, so anything I recommend to you, it'll be upbeat. There'll be something to learn from it, and informative and entertaining. So what else do I have? I think that's it. My son's leaving for camp. I mentioned it in the first podcast I did. I don't remember if I mentioned it in this take 2, but he leaves at 3:45 in the morning. So sorry, my daughter just walked in. So I'm gonna go visit and hang out with him for a while. And I'm recording tonight. I made myself a little nook in our bedroom, and I've got this chair, and see, got a chair, and then I've got a table. Right now it's kind of messy. Oh, I want to share something. This is a cross stitch. Here. This is a cross stitch that my sister did, and I think, say hi, Grace. I think it's the only big project she ever did in cross stitch. She had rheumatoid arthritis really bad, and so This was before it really crippled our hands. But so I treasure that. I've got to get it framed. But I did lay that out on my table just because Karen did it. I just love it. So I'll share that with you. My sister, she passed away, and it's I still, you know, it's getting better, but she died in 2011, and I just had to think about her in spurts, you know, because it was just too painful. So she was, I mean, we were very close, and we had all these plans to grow old together. And anyway, but it's getting better now. I still, you know, it's funny because the other day, I don't remember what happened, but I thought I have to call Karen and tell her this. I mean, isn't that funny? Because it's been, what, 2011, 5 years almost. Well, 5 years in August. And I still have a hard time sometimes because I do miss her. But we'll see each other again another day. So anyway, I am going to go spend some time with Ben, and I hope you guys have a great week and get a lot done on your projects if you're working on anything, but just mostly just enjoy your life this week and have fun, and God bless you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye. Okay. It's not turning off. Awkward, but I'm not re-recording, so we'll leave the awkward moment at the end. Let me see if I can, I see where to stop it. Sorry. All right, you guys have a good week. See you next week.